Friends, listen up. It's times like this we get rich. I've done it before. I've done it twice. No bullshit in this video, just pure strategy. Stop panicking while reading into everything. I know how you feel, so stop. I do know everybody's situation is different, and the best I can do is to tell you what I'm doing, my thoughts and my experience to help you navigate through this crisis. For info, I'm 40 years old. I'm not 20 like what most of you think. Asians don't age. I have the experience, so listen up. By the way, it would mean a lot if you could help me like this video. It really helps a lot in the YouTube algorithm to reach more people. You look at all crises, the dot-com bubble, the 02-03 SARS, the 08-09 housing bubble, they will pass. Do you recall? For many years, everybody, yes, everybody, including you watching, was wishing it was back in the 08-09 crisis. You would have dumped all your money in. You see, hindsight is super easy. If I knew, it's the biggest bullshit you can tell yourself. How many times in your life can you tell yourself this bullshit? So if you look at all crises, it will pass. The biggest problem is when you are in a crisis, you do not know what to do. I'm going to touch onto sensitive issues now. So forgive me in advance because I could be hitting a nerve. Imagine this, you are in a relationship for about 2 years. Sometimes there are quarrels, but mostly good times. One day your partner comes up to you and asks you to go separate ways. They found somebody new or just really wanted to take a break from you. How would you have been in such a situation? Can you remember the amount of time you spent crying and thinking what went wrong? You thought you would never get over it and yet you are here right now. How about the times you discovered your partner cheated on you? Because you care and you love them so much, you couldn't think properly and lowered your standards. In a crisis, the logical mind can't function. How about the death of someone close? Do you remember how it affected you and permanently changed you? I'm not telling you that I can focus better than you during a crisis. I'm also a human. About 2 years ago, I discovered the love of my life. My dog, my son, he had cancer, blood cancer. He passed away without pain, and he had a good extra 1 year with the help of chemo treatment. Until today, to many people, he was just my dog. But to me, he was my son. I still can't get over the loss. This crisis has been a while, about 2 years, and to me, it's still not over. I still have problems accepting love. My heart has not recovered. Eventually will it? Probably, but not now. Well, during this crisis, I had help to make better decisions and I'm grateful for that. Do you remember it was only less than a year ago, Tesla stock was below $200? Do you remember that crisis? During the crisis, the people who was willing to stick to their guns with high level of conviction was rewarded. They pressed that button when everybody else was scared shitless. Of course, with hindsight, those who did was greatly rewarded. If you have someone to help you in a crisis, someone with experience, someone with knowledge, someone who tells you exactly what you need to hear, wouldn't that be a game changer for you? So now we are in a crisis. So I hope to be of help to assist you to make a better decision. This crisis to me has really no effect on me because I was long prepared for something like this to happen. In fact, I did so many videos on this. If you look back at past videos in this channel, you will have seen a lot of it. So the crisis is here. I'm smiling, and if you are not smiling, watch on. During such crisis, the world leaders will for once get their shit together, put their differences aside, and solve the crisis. Every crisis is the same. Do not bet against the market when the world powers are working together to solve the issue. You probably do not want to bet against them. Why do you want to even bet against world leaders coming together to solve a problem? That's just nuts. I'll go to the charts now. This is the SPY tracking the S&P 500 index, and this was since 1994. I'm just going to remind you a few things that happened during the last few years. So now if you go back to 2002 in November, I'm going to zoom in over here. So in 2002 November, what actually happened here? This was the start of SARS. So in SARS happened and the market tanked for like 4 months. And thereafter, what happened? So SARS started in November 2002, okay? In year 2002, and it came down. Thereafter that, in April, it started going back up. This time, we have Corona starting at December, okay? Just take note of that. Next, you go forward, like, so this was the 2008 crisis. Boom, the market came down. And you realize the market quickly recovered very fast. So it took a while. But these days over here, the internet, we weren't so connected. There was no social media. So things were like a bit slower. And if you were to come back, now you realize a lot of crises that happens. So now you see this drop is very steep. This is probably because of now the world is so interconnected. Everybody is so connected now in year 2020, where news travels very fast. So everything moves very quickly. I remember during this timing over here, the 1819, the trade war and stuff and shit, every time there's a dip, there's always a new story. So this is nothing new. Another story that comes, and do remember, the people who buy in at the bottoms here, one of the people who buy in the bottom is me. I usually buy at the bottom, and this is where I make a lot of money. So now we have a steep drop, and guess what's going to happen? I do not know this is the bottom, but I do know in the future this is what is going to happen. I'm just going to draw on the chart, just use a brush. I do know in the future that the stock market will hit around this range here. I do not know how much it will drop, I do not know, but all I do know is when the stock market goes up over here, I'm going to make a lot of money all over again. So what am I doing now? I mentioned 3 videos ago, I'm doing exactly what I said. I have sold away all my stable stocks in my portfolio and started to buy into disruptive stocks during the past week. JD held up well, I sold it. Baidu also held up pretty well, I sold. NIO surprisingly held up quite well, I sold. McDonald's I sold. Everything I sold except for Tesla and Illumina. I took this chance to concentrate on disruptive companies. Not surprisingly, Tesla held up pretty well. This is a move good fund managers will do. In a bear market, all stocks will fall. Some more, some less. Take this chance to clean up your portfolio. I know it sucks to sell some stocks at a loss. But in this case, you are actually not taking a loss. You are simply just repositioning your portfolio. You need to reposition your portfolio to the stocks you really have a lot of conviction in. And this is like my 100th time I'm saying this on this channel. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett both only had 3 to 4 stocks in their portfolio until they got too big. It is almost humanly impossible to understand 10 to 20 companies you invest in. If you only invest in companies you understand in, you will always make the right call when the crisis comes. Like now, no boy, I'm so glad I did all those Tesla videos. My conviction is that high. So even if Tesla falls to $200 again, you and I both know what I'm going to do. I will even sell my house to buy Tesla. Screw the house, who needs a house? Ugh. So for this week, I have done what I said. I have repositioned my portfolio to only 3 stocks. As I can't predict bottoms and nobody can, this is my plan for the next 1 month. I'm going to touch my reserves, my spare cash. I will touch my reserves in 3 parts. Over the course of the next 1 month, I'll divide my reserves into 3 parts. Let's say my reserve is $90,000. I'll do 3 purchases of $30,000 over the next course of a month. So if the market continues to drop, 30k goes in. Drop again, 30k goes in. If the market continues to bottom, it really doesn't affect me at all. I know it's humanly impossible to predict the market bottoms consistently, but it's totally possible to own companies that will change our lives for the better good at a cheaper price. That's all to investing. That's it. In a crisis where wealth is created and destroyed, which side do you want to be on? So in conclusion, as simple as it sounds, like I said, when you are in a crisis, most people do not have the mental state to focus. All crises will pass and all crises will come to an end. Epic opportunities do not come often, and when it comes, most people will just let it pass. Just like the next beautiful girl you are seated across from the bar, you wish that you have taken the chance to talk to her. Wishes doesn't come true, actions come true. Invest safe, and thank you friends who always like my videos. It really means a lot to me.